What's going on, y'all? It's your man, point guard, Stephen Bardo, coming to you for another live show that we do every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm your host, point guard, Stephen Bardo. If this is your first time here, pardon me, I'm a former professional basketball player for Dallas, Detroit, and San Antonio, the NBA, and I played in Italy, Spain, France, Germany, Venezuela, and Japan overseas. And then I had a 25-year television commentating career covering college basketball and NBA and WNBA for various networks. Every network that's ever covered basketball, I've worked on them. ESPN, CBS, ABC, NBC, Fox Sports, Big Ten Network, whole nine. I've worked with them. And now, as a result of being tired of the United States, I have moved to Mexico and started a new life and trying to help brothers over 50 do the same thing in the United States. Figure out ways that you can take your hard-earned money, you can take your life's experience, you can take all these things and create your next chapter somewhere else other than the United States. And so today, on today's show, we're going to be talking the exit strategy, how smart Black men over 50 use crypto to protect their assets and their wealth. Okay. So I've got a presentation that it's like a slide show that I'm going to give you guys. And then what we'll do, I'll take your questions at the end. Okay. All right, here we go. Pull this up. Okay. Can guys put in the comments a 1 or something if you can see this and you can hear me okay, please. Please do that for me. I would greatly appreciate it. And let me get to the slide. Okay. So what every brother should know about crypto before he buys. Now, there was some interesting statistics that I found in my research before creating this presentation. And one of the things that I noticed is that as I'm delaying trying to pull this up a little bit, where are my statistics? Okay. Okay, in 2023, it's reported, according to this Pew Research Center, that Black Americans, 27% were more likely than white Americans, 12%, to say that they first invested in crypto within the previous year. So some of these were shocking. And I think it goes to some of the issues that Black Americans have had with trust in terms of the United States systems that were created. There's always been a lack of trust, and for good reason, historically, why Black people distrust many of the services that the government has provided to this point. Let's see, 44% of crypto traders are investors of color versus 35% of stock traders. This comes from a University of Chicago data research, and it's consistently cited. So I'm giving you guys this stuff surprised me because my business partner who helped me get into crypto pre-2017 was that majority of people, let alone Black Americans, knew much about crypto. But I see that since that time, the numbers have changed. 18% of Black adults own or trade crypto versus 13% of white adults in the United States. Okay. And then to add to that, another Pew Research Center report said that about 1 in 5 Black and Hispanic adults say they have used crypto, while white adults at 14% are less likely. Okay. So I don't know if that surprised you guys like it surprises me, but it certainly was eye-opening in the fact that Black Americans have adopted crypto at a higher rate than other Americans. Now, that number skews more to young people than the people in our age demographic. So this why I'm making this presentation. All right. So I entered the crypto market in 2016, 2017, and a great friend of mine, my business partner, told me the dollar cost average into buying Bitcoin. Okay. Bitcoin, as we'll get into this, is the gold standard in terms of cryptocurrencies. and it doesn't have a lot of utility, but it's more of a store of value than anything else. So just keep that in mind, okay? So in 2017, I entered the market, bought BTC, which is the 3-letter acronym for Bitcoin, and I dollar cost average. I'd put $100 to $150 a month and just let it go. I'd have it taken out of my checking account at a certain time of the month, and it would just build in the background while I'm going and doing my thing. Please excuse our garbage trucks, guys. The Caminos de Basura, they come once or twice per day in this area of Playa del Carmen, and they are loud as all get out. So if you're hearing some noise in the background, that's what it is. I apologize. All right. Now, with crypto, even with Bitcoin, which is the gold standard, there are tremendous swings in the market. Nothing close to what the stock market does. The stock market has nothing on the crypto market in terms of volatility. The crypto market is extremely volatile. Okay. So 2018, there was an 84% drop in Bitcoin, 84%, but I didn't panic and I didn't sell. I kept doing it. Okay. Rode the next bull cycle. ETH, which is Ethereum, ETH is the acronym for Ethereum, and other altcoins and DeFi exploded in 2021. This was right at the beginning of COVID. Okay. Then in 2022, FTX collapsed. I don't know if you guys remember FTX. It was a huge cryptocurrency company. And the guy, it's not Sam Altman. What's the guy's name? Anyway, he's kind of a tied-in dude, and he swindled a lot of people out of their money in this situation. And so, we find ourselves today. I've gone through two cycles, and this last one was screwed up by this administration. This is my opinion. This is not fact. This is my opinion. Before this administration came into power in the United States, crypto really wasn't manipulated like it's being manipulated right now. Okay. And this is a side note that I'm going to give you as additional information. The Trump family cannot be banked. They can't use banks in the United States. Did you guys know that? So this billionaire cannot use United States banks because he's been bankrupt so many times. He's defaulted on so many loans that the U.S. banking system will not allow him to use their banks. This is why I want to bring this to you guys, because this is the first crypto president that we've ever had. Biden seemed to be a little bit reluctant. He was not he was not pro crypto because he still had the advantages of traditional financing, trad finance. That when you hear me say trad, that's all that means is traditional finance. Okay, so the Trump family is the first crypto president, the first crypto family, because he had to go out of the country to be banked. He had to go to Germany, then he had to go to Russia to get these bank loans to conduct his business, where nobody in the U.S. would loan him anything, and they wouldn't allow him to bank. And so now that Trump's sons have become educated and understanding how to circumvent the TradFi system, traditional finance, crypto is the way to go. Now, when you heard Jamie Dimon, CEO of, is he JP Morgan? I think he's CEO of JP Morgan. They were trashing cryptos for years, guys, because they were quietly accumulating crypto. Well, they put out in the public, the drug dealers and money laundering schemes only use crypto. Crypto is bad. Don't even think about crypto. And then you look up and they're like, oh no, crypto is the future of finance. Really? So this is a trend, guys, that you're going to see. And if you go back the last 5 years and you think about what I'm telling you, you'll see politicians and billionaires and oligarchs say one thing publicly, but in the background, they're doing the exact opposite of what they're telling you not to do. Okay. Keep that in mind. So who is crypto for? You guys, a lot of you guys have built your wealth in the traditional way. You've heard about crypto, but fully don't understand it. You're tired of hearing about it secondhand. You want facts and not hype. And you're not trying to get rich. You're trying to protect what you've already built. And so, guys, I'm not here to push any products. I'm not selling anything. This is a way to make you aware, if you're not currently aware, of how important this technology is, because it's not coming, guys, it's here. Okay. Wait a minute. Digital money that no government, bank, or institutions control. So traditional money issued by a government, central bank, like the Fed, controls how much exits, can be printed, inflated, and frozen at any moment. You saw where Russia, I believe, had 300 million or 300. No, they had some ungodly amount of money frozen because it was in the traditional finance system that the U.S. controls, the SWIFT system. And so a lot of times you would see China, Russia, Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, these different countries that have ideological differences with the United States. You would see them get hit with sanctions and sometimes have their money ganked and stolen through the traditional finance route. Okay. Now, cryptocurrency is issued by math and code. No single authority. Rules are set in stone in the software. It can't be printed and it can't be frozen. Now, I believe Russia had some of their Bitcoin seized at one time. So I don't know that, obviously when you let billionaires and institutions that are traditional that want to hold on to power, you give them access to these systems, they can figure out a way to get in there. So it's not totally no single authority. There is some manipulation going on, especially as of late. Now, the blockchain technology, guys, think of the blockchain technology as a ledger, a public ledger, that if you were to go on a particular blockchain right now, you would see a series of numbers. You would see a transaction number. You would see a transaction amount. You would see exactly what happened in that transaction, and you would see where the cryptocurrency is going. That's blockchain technology. And it's far more advanced than anything that traditional finance is currently utilizing. Okay. So think of it like a public record book that thousands of people hold and everyone can see every entry. There's a breakdown right there. Transparent, immutable, meaning once it's recorded, a transaction cannot be changed or deleted ever. Now that it's stayed that way, even though we've had some price manipulation in the last couple of years, strong price manipulation. You can't change anything. And for the most part, it's decentralized, meaning that there's no one single server or bank that controls it. Thousands of computers work simultaneously to run these blockchains. I know it sounds all sci-fi. It's really not, guys. It's not. Okay. 2 cycles, real lessons. All right. The 2017, 2018 crash. Bitcoin hit 20,000 for the first time in December 2017. The media went wild. Everybody jumped in. So like traditional finance, crypto is run a lot on hype. So I know you guys have gone to YouTube and you've seen a ton of YouTube creators talk about cryptocurrency and blockchain. Okay. And you'll hear them say, oh, Bitcoin is hot, or ETH is hot, or, XRP is the future. And, you'll hear all these hype trains because hype dictates and influences the market. Crypto is the same in that regard. So by 2018, December 2018, a year later, Bitcoin had crashed to 3,200 per Bitcoin. That's an 84% drop. Okay. Most new investors panic sold. I didn't, because I understand what Bitcoin is. Lesson: volatility is the price of admission. So guys, if you're going to get into crypto, I don't advise trading crypto. I know people that do it, but it's not for the weak. I wouldn't advise it. I try to do the Warren Buffett approach, and that's probably not the most wise thing in crypto either. But I'm looking at certain coins that will be staples in our economy that if you don't get in pretty quickly, you will get left out. Because the one thing that makes Bitcoin so appealing in the cryptocurrency space, and why a lot of people are starting to use it as a store of wealth, is that there are only 21 million Bitcoin available ever. So and we've mined 20 million of the 21 million available. There's only 1 million left to be mined. And the whole mining thing is these crypto miners, they build these computers that solve mathematical equations, big equations. And every time they solve these equations, they get rewarded with Bitcoin. That's how Bitcoin is mined, okay, by these supercomputers that do these calculations and work through these math problems. And every time you solve one, you get a certain amount of Bitcoin, okay? So Bitcoin is a store of value. And there are people that live off Bitcoin. That's a whole nother ball game. This guy named Didi and his family, he's from the Netherlands. He's been living off of solely crypto for 6-7 years now. Rents his places, buys his investments, pays for his groceries. There are places like that that are way more advanced in crypto than the United States around the world, guys. You can use your Bitcoin to buy everyday goods and services. You can use ETH. You can use there's various cryptocurrencies that you can use right now in different parts of the world that will allow you to do everyday things that we are used to in the United States with traditional finance. Okay. Now, cycle 2, the explosion and collapse. Bitcoin soared to 69,000 November 2021. Okay. NFTs, which is another variation of cryptocurrency. DeFi, which is decentralized financing. I won't get into all that. And then altcoins. Guys, all that altcoins are, when you hear altcoins, it's everything except Bitcoin. That's it. That's what alternative coins. There's Bitcoin and then there's altcoins. Ethereum is an altcoin. It's the biggest altcoin, but it's an altcoin. Don't get caught up. Altcoins are simply cryptocurrencies that aren't Bitcoin. That's it. Okay. FTX, a top 5 exchange, collapsed in fraud. Bitcoin's price dropped to 17,000 in 2022. Not all crypto is equal. Do your homework. Okay. Let's see if I'm on the right one here. Are you guys, any questions so far? You guys following this? Can you hear me okay? Is it coming through clearly? Yes, Deshaun, yes. That's exactly why he's moving like that, because he was debanked. And the fact that, he was very upset. He was extremely upset with that. And, his sons, Donald Trump and his family made $1.2 billion last year. In his first year of the presidency of the United States, he and his family made $1.2 billion. And I think 90% of it's in not Bitcoin, it's in cryptocurrency, because they've made their own stable coin. And they've made his son, I can't remember which son it was, but he was on a video showing this huge warehouse of computers that solve these problems, to where they're getting Bitcoin, they're getting different cryptocurrencies by solving these math problems and math equations. And so that's what's going on, Deshaun. Thank you for that. Know the landscape. Okay. Not all crypto is the same. Here's what actually matters. Bitcoin, like we call it digital gold. It's the most trusted. It's been around the longest. And it's really a really good store of value. That's something that I use. Okay. The origins, scarce by design. Only 21 million will ever exist. There's already 20 million of them have already been mined, guys. There's only 1 million Bitcoin to be mined left. Okay. So what that does, that creates a scarcity and urgency. So the benchmark everyone else is measured against. The most used cryptocurrency is called Ethereum. This is where all the platforms are built on. Think of the internet. Ethereum is the internet for cryptocurrencies. A lot of the blockchain technologies have been built on Ethereum. Now they're going to Solana and different other projects, but Ethereum is still the godfather in terms of people building blockchain technology onto Ethereum. Okay. Stable coins is something stable coins is the reason the Clarity Act has not passed yet. Stable coins like USDC and USDT, okay, are crypto pegged to the dollar 1-to-1. So if you have one USDC, that's usually worth $1. If you have one USDT, which is called Tether, you have one Tether, it's equal to one US dollar. It's pegged 1-to-1 to the US dollar. Okay. So what happens is, as I see a beautiful view across the way, what happens is a lot of crypto investors, when they make money on certain altcoins or even Bitcoin and they want to take some profit off the top, what they do is they sell a little bit of their cryptocurrency, and instead of turning it into fiat currency like US dollars, they keep it in USDC or USDT. Okay. And so what that does is that allows them to hold it in crypto, and then they can immediately redeploy it or reinvest it somewhere else. Okay. So think of stable coins like digital dollars. All right. And then the altcoins are high risk, high reward. These are, pardon me, all the other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, Solana, XRP, XLM, HBAR, Aave. There's thousands of them, guys. I ripped off about the top in terms of market share. These are the ones I named were all in the top 10. Okay. Altcoins are very, very risky. And a lot of people, I've lost some money in altcoins. And so I learned my lesson the hard way. All right. Why this matters to men like you. We talked about the amount of Bitcoin remaining. It says approximate Bitcoin growth per cycle, 4x. So, all right. So let's look at the price. Let's look at today's price of Bitcoin. And the 4x approximate growth per cycle pertains more to 2017 and 2021 than it does today, because the market has just been heavily manipulated. And so what was happening in each continuous 4-year cycle, crypto was going smoothly until Trump came into the mix. And how ironic is that? It was running the way it was supposed to run, and then Trump, the crypto president, comes in and he alters it somewhat. But today's price for one Bitcoin is $70,761. Okay. It's not going to 4x in this next cycle, I don't think. That means that it would go to 280,000 per coin. It was supposed to go to about 150 to 200 this last cycle in 2025. It did not happen. It went to 129, I believe was the high. And so that's kind of out. Don't pay too much attention to that. It doesn't cost anything to open up a crypto wallet. Now, I would suggest Coinbase. Coinbase, it's one word, BASE, Coinbase. That's probably the easiest and most user-friendly. There's Kraken, there's crypto.com. There's a ton of them. Go online. I would suggest Coinbase. They're the largest. They're the most accepted within the U.S. financial system. I would go with them. Okay. Now, here's the deal, guys. Some people who are in finance, that's all they do is finance, and they've gotten into cryptocurrency. There's an investor named Kathy Wood, and I think her fund is called ARK. I don't remember what that stands for, but her fund, ARK, invests in Bitcoin and these different cryptocurrencies. She thinks that one Bitcoin in 2035 will be worth $1 million. A lot of people think by 2030, one Bitcoin will be upwards of $500,000. So if you think about that right now, if you think about, okay, a lot of people tell you to get one Bitcoin to secure your family's wealth for the remainder of time. Okay, so let's take one Bitcoin for example. Today it's at 70,000. If you take $70,000 and buy one Bitcoin today, and let's say in 2030 it's $500,000, I think that's a stretch, but let's just go with it, because some of the experts like Kathy Wood have been really strong in saying this. So your 70 goes to 500,000 in what is that? In 4 years, that's a 35% return, isn't it? Let me pull out my calculator real quick. I think that's a 35% That's a 35x. I don't think that's right. 70,000. No, wait a minute. Let me do this the other way. 500,000 divided by 70,000. I was way off. That's a 7x. Okay. So if everything holds up, you would 7x your money. But the thing is, Bitcoin has returned, has done better over the last 20 years than any investment on the planet. And so it's a great store of wealth. That's what I want you to remember. Okay. Generational wealth. Crypto will give you the opportunity that if you are behind and you really research crypto and know what you're doing, you can make up for lost time to generate wealth for you and your family moving forward. Okay. Banks don't work for everyone. Crypto was literally invented as an alternative to the system that wasn't built for us. Okay. And this goes beyond a race thing, in my opinion. The banking system and the systems to create wealth in the United States were never developed for the common man. They were always created for the wealthy class. They don't want regular people getting wealthy. Then they can't tell you what to do, or they can't offer you a shot when there's a outbreak. You feel where I'm going with that? People who are sovereign, like we talk about here on Next Chapter Forward, people who are sovereign, you can't tell them what to do. You can't make them do anything. And that's why crypto is so appealing, because crypto allows you to generate income, wealth, move money, do different things that you can't do in the traditional finance realm. Okay. All right, let's see. 5 things you need to know before you buy anything. Only invest what you can afford to lose. Guys, this is a rule for anything. Okay, now, and I know it's kind of it's an oxymoron. In one side, you want to build wealth, but on the other side, you're only investing what you can lose. The reason being is because you don't want to find yourself, if you're taking a risk in crypto and you're putting a little bit too much of your money that you need to depend on moving forward to pay bills and things like that. You don't want to put too much of that money into crypto, because if it drops and you lose your money, you may not have time to wait for it to recover. So always invest in money that you can afford to lose. Second, use a regulated exchange, not some guy's app. Coinbase, Kraken, or Gemini are regulated in the US. Okay. Third, Bitcoin and Ethereum first, nothing else yet. I'm going to give you something else to consider, but that's sound advice for people who are starting. Hold your own keys eventually, not your keys, not your coin. Once you're comfortable, move assets to a cold wallet. I wish I had one in my hand to show you. They look like they're no bigger than, they're the same as credit cards. I use Tangem, and Tangem, let me not pull that out. Tangem is about the size of a credit card. And you tap it like that on particular computer or your phone or whatever, and it allows you to store, move, buy, sell, trade crypto. But what it means by not your keys, not your coins, I'm encouraging you guys to start with Bitcoin on Coinbase. Now, as you are dollar cost averaging your money into Bitcoin through using Coinbase, I want you to start to understand what self-custody means. Because if you have your money on Coinbase and there's a outage or there's a hack, you may lose your money. But if you have your money if you have your crypto on a cold storage wallet that you have the keys to, meaning your phrases, that's a whole nother video. But I'm giving you guys things to look at if you're just getting started. Okay. Not your keys, not your coins. So you can leave it on an exchange for a little while, but you don't want to leave your cryptocurrency on an exchange for too long, because if something happens to that exchange, your crypto can be gone forever. Okay. Ignore the noise, especially the celebrities. Don't go for the endorsements, guys. Don't go for guys, these, like I told you, these YouTube people who, will tell you one thing and because they want you to buy into what they're doing. Don't buy the hype. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. Here's mistakes I've seen and made. Buying at the top. So FOMO is real, guys. When Bitcoin starts to run, it gets into the mainstream media flow, and you'll start to hear stories about Bitcoin, and that's when the there's a term for it. It's escaping me right now. This is when the not the billionaire or the wealthy class are in, because they stay in. They don't normally get out of markets. They stay in. They'll buy their cryptos, and if they're trading, they'll sell their cryptos and get into remember those stable coins I was talking about? So they'll hold in stable coins, and then when they see another project or cryptocurrency they want to invest in, they can take the stable coins and go ahead and buy those cryptocurrencies again. What happens with retail buyers? That's what I was talking about. Retail buyers like me and you will get caught up on a hype and want to get in when all the news cycles are saying Bitcoin is hot, Bitcoin's 100,000, Bitcoin's 125,000. That's when all the retail money comes in. So you're buying high, fear of missing out. Don't buy like that. Trusting the wrong people. Guys, yeah. Put in the comments if you want me to make suggestions to people that you should follow on YouTube. I follow people every day. Crypto Banter does a daily show for at least an hour and a half every day on crypto. And he's fantastic. I think he's based in, he's either in Dubai or Europe somewhere, but Crypto Banter is really good. But there's a ton of other people that you can watch that really give good information that won't send you down the river. But just understand that when you're first getting started, some of this terminology is going to sound crazy to you. But just keep listening because it will start to make sense, okay? Now, some people went all in and lost everything. A 5 to 10% allocation of investments, investable assets is a sensible starting point. I agree with that. Now, I'm way more into crypto than that because I've been in crypto now 9 years. So I know what I'm doing and I'm well invested. But for starting out, I think that's a good allocation. So if your total investment amount, if you're just starting out, guys, you don't need to be more than 5 or 10% of that total amount in crypto. That's a good benchmark. Panic selling. Now, I'm using my crypto to set up a family bank. So if you got a certain amount of crypto, you can set up your own family bank, and where you take out loans against your assets, you live off of the loans. You live your daily lives off the loans, and then you pay back the interest on the loans over time until you can pay off the loan. Now, here's what happens, guys, and this is a side addendum. What really smart people do, they create a trust that has a company inside of the trust. So your trust is your house or your bank. You have an LLC, a business. This stuff is very simple to do, guys. You have an LLC inside of a trust. Your LLC buys the crypto that you want, invests in the crypto that you want. The trust holds the crypto. Okay? It holds the crypto so that when you go to take loans out against your crypto, you're taking a loan out, but you don't take the amount that you're borrowing against. That stays in the market. That continues to work. Okay? So what a lot of people are doing, they got their LLC, and they've got their Bitcoin, their Ethereum, their XRP, their Solana, their ANDA, right? Let's say they have those five. What did I say? Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, XLM, and ANDA. Okay, let's just go with those five. Those five are inside the LLC has just purchased those. It goes into the trust. The trust now can hold these assets and allow them to grow. They're not in the platforms themselves. They just have the keys to the platform so that they have total control that no one else has. Okay. So then you go to a lending source which is now decentralized financing, which is in the cryptocurrency blockchain technology. You can go get a loan against your crypto assets, live off the loan, pay only the interest back, right? Your crypto continues to grow in value over time. You're making interest payments. You're really not even touching the principal. Then if you die, what happens is you set it up as a family bank. So it's going to go to your heirs. The bank is going to go to your heirs with explicit instructions. Here's why that's important. Remember, I told you that one Bitcoin, some people say that by 2035, one Bitcoin can be worth $1 million, right? So let's say that you had one Bitcoin and then you had other cryptocurrencies that would accumulate to $1 million. So now you've got $2 million in your trust, in your family bank. And let's say you live in Panama, Colombia, Thailand, Mexico, Brazil, Portugal, Ghana, Senegal, South Africa, wherever. And your cost of living might be $3,000 to $4,000. Let's just say $4,000 a month, right? So you can take a loan against your $2 million. You can take a loan for $60,000. $48,000 covers your total living expenses, and $12,000 can be for whatever. You might want to travel. You might want to do some more investing, whatever. You're simply paying back interest payments for years on that $60,000, right? You can do that every year. As long as your loan to value ratio isn't too great, you can do that every year. So if you got $2 million and you're 65 years old, you got $2 million and you're taking off $60,000 a year, you're not gonna really upset the principal of your family bank, if that makes sense. Okay, that it sounds convoluted. That requires a lot of research, but just give you an example. Okay, no cold storage plan. FTX lost billions in customer funds. Remember the cold storage I was talking about? That's what they're talking about. Taxes, you have to be very careful with taxes because every trade you make is a taxable event, meaning that the IRS can tax you on every time you sell or I think even exchange coins, which is hot garbage, but I digress. How to get started. Educate yourself first. Read the Bitcoin Standard. Watch Andreas Antonopoulos on YouTube. Andreas Antonopoulos. Okay? Understand what you're buying. 2, open account. We talked about Coinbase, Kraken, the different ones. 3, start small. Buy $100 to $500 worth of Bitcoin, and then dollar cost it. So take $100 or $150 a month that you're going to have automatically withdrawn from your account. You can do this very easily on Coinbase. You won't even see it because, guys, and then dollar cost average. This is what I did. Now, I'm giving up a little bit too much information, but you guys tuned in, so I want to make it worth your while. My business partner had me do this. He said, anytime you get extra money, just throw it in there and don't look at it. And so I did it for about 1.5 years. I forgot about it. And he called me, because we talk almost every day. He said, hey, man, you looked at your account lately. I hadn't. It was at 6 figures. And I had put less than $20,000 into it. But I just kept dollar cost averaging. And when I get an extra 500, I throw it in there. And this was during a big run now. It wasn't during a bull cycle. I mean, it wasn't during a bear cycle. It was during a bull cycle. And it took off. Okay? That's the possibility of cryptocurrency right there. Okay? All right. The bottom line, crypto is not a get rich quick scheme. It's a new financial system. These are the guardrails of what banks and institutions will be using now, guys. We're here. It's not coming. We're here. This is why I'm doing this today. Okay? All right. Okay. I think that'll do it. So I just wanted to bring that up, guys, because I think this is a topic that really needs to be discussed, especially in our community. Okay, Roderick. Thanks for checking in, bro. Good to hear from you. Deshaun, thanks for tuning in. But guys, this is important because, the financial rails are here. And once the Clarity Act passes, you're going to see cryptocurrency prices spike. Now, once the new Fed chair comes in, the one that's being appointed by President Trump, they're going to lower interest rates. And when those interest rates lower, guys, you're going to see unprecedented runs in crypto. Okay. Now, here are three that I would tell you to look at if you're just getting started: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Now, people are really high on Bitcoin, as I am. I've got my allotment of Bitcoin. But XRP, ladies and gentlemen, might be one you want to look into. Okay. XRP is going to be what XRP does. It allows you to move large sums of money worldwide virtually in seconds. So instead of wiring money to a relative in Australia and having to wait maybe a day or two for it to clear, XRP millions of dollars can clear on XRP in seconds. XRP is going to underpin the banking system of the United States. It's in place, guys. XRP was getting, they got sued by the SEC a couple times. They won both of those. So this is the most SEC tight cryptocurrency project there is on the market. Okay. So if you're just starting out, yeah, Roderick, please schedule a call. You guys, I think it's really important. If you're just starting out, I would say do Bitcoin and XRP. You can do Ethereum. Ethereum's a safe choice as well. But in my opinion, XRP is going to have explosive growth, guys. And it's dirt cheap. It's still $1.40 per coin. I would suggest you get it sooner rather than later. Now, I don't get anything for this, guys. I'm just telling you that I think that this is going to be XRP, in my mind, will surpass the total market share that Bitcoin will have. And that's strong, strong words. I've been looking at XRP for about 3 or 4 years now. And what this technology does with the Ripple network, they're already in 9 different countries right now in terms of their central banks. They're utilizing it right now. So once that Clarity Act passes in Congress and it becomes law, which I would assume that will be within the next month. Then when the Federal Reserve Chair changes, and this guy is somebody that Trump approves of, he's going to immediately drop the rates. And inflation is going to take off. Things are going to become crazy expensive. But crypto prices, asset prices, gold, silver, of which I'm invested in as well, will take off like wildfire, guys. Okay? So go ahead. If you haven't already done so, book a call with me. Okay? You can go in my bio. There's something called a country clarity call. It's an hour-long call with me and you. Okay, I go over everything. We can go over the cryptocurrency in that as well. What I'm looking for, I can point you in the direction of who you need to look at for research. I can show you how to open up an account. I can really explain to you what I'm doing and where I am in my crypto journey. It's a country clarity call. This is not a free call now. The free calls are the free throw 15. Now, if you want a free call with me for 15 minutes, type in free throw 15 in the comments section. Okay, I'll send you a link. You can schedule time. Also, if you don't want to get on the paid call, the country clarity call, you can get a relocation roadmap. Go to my bio and get your global scouting report. It's 8 questions. It's a 2-minute survey that gives you a score of your readiness to relocate upon completion. I've had 362 people take the global scouting report, and it's really good. It puts you in the category. There are dreamers, planners, packers, and ready to relocate. And based on your score, you'll land in one of those 4 categories. You'll also be put on the next chapter forward email list, where I email 3 or 4 times a week to the group about various things, and I go more in depth than that. So again, if you want to get deep on this, guys, the country clarity call is what you want to look at. 60 minutes with me and you. We go through everything. I give you a game plan, a 30-day game plan afterwards. I give you a recorded, the call will be recorded and you get a copy of that. And I will also give you support beyond that call. Okay, so if any of that sounds good to you, go ahead and get your Country Clarity call today. Link is in the bio. And I hope that you guys got something out of this. Roderick and Deshaun, thanks for tuning in. Manny, thank you, brother. Appreciate you tuning in. You guys have a great rest of your week. If you have any questions and you've seen this on the replay, type your questions into the comments. I come back and check these all the time. I will come back and answer your questions, any that you may have. Okay? All right. I hope this was helpful for those of you that really aren't knowledgeable about crypto. It's here. It's not coming. It's here. And you need to know about it because it's a wonderful opportunity to develop your wealth for you and your family. Okay? All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Love you all. Until next time, holla, y'all.